guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we're in the world of Oasis Springs and we're building a modern 1x1 bedroom home. And this is a build that came to me just on the basis of two rectangles. So I was just playing around with how I could build a house that was fairly small, and I decided to just put essentially two rectangles together, and this is what came out. Yeah, it was a fairly modern build that I wanted to build, being in Oasis Springs, as this month we are kind of focusing on worlds, and this particular week we are building in base game world. So we've got obviously Oasis Springs for today, and then I've got a family home in Willow Creek, which will be for Thursday's build, so that's super exciting. So I guess the inspiration for today's build started with that wallpaper. So that orange type wallpaper really set in stone that I really wanted to do something a little bit more colourful and a little bit more quirky, but still had a modern type take on it. And in the end, I have designed this 1x1 bedroom house, which is for a sim who is into pottery. I'm not sure if they have a pottery business, but this is like their personal home. So they don't have a business on this lot, but I guess there is like a table where they could put pottery on it. So they could potentially sell pottery out of their home. But I just really thought that that was kind of a awesome way to kind of put personality into this build, because it's like, I guess pottery is a form of art in a way. So, they're definitely a more creative sim. All right, so we are well and truly underway. So we are just starting the decoration on the kitchen. We've placed our stairs and we've done our floor plan. So obviously you walk in and this whole area is open. So you have a dining and a kitchen, which we're working on now. And then you have your staircase. You have a little bit of a kind of a nook where I've put in some skill building, and the living room. Upstairs you have a tiny bathroom that is only an ensuite access, which I think is okay. It's probably not as practical if you're having like Sims over, but that's just what I've done. And then obviously a bedroom and a huge area for the sim to do pottery. All right, we've gone in with the my favorite base game flooring. I said this in last week's build. I really enjoy this flooring for like more modern builds, so we have done that today. And we've gone in with the base game kitchen set. I really like this kitchen set. It is kind of modern. It looks like it has like a marble countertop. And we've used a whole bunch of clutter from the kitchen clutter kit. I've used those like storage containers which have like food in it. I think that's so cool. And I use this bin. So this particular pink bin comes from the pastel pop kit, and I've never used it before, but it was quirky, and that's part of like the theme, I guess, that I was going for, the aesthetic with this particular build. So yeah, we've gone with that. In terms of modern, I have used a lot of the Business and Hobbies expansion pack, but paired with a lot of the Dream Home Decorator pack, I do feel that those two packs go hand in hand. And I really love that dining table. It's one of my favorites. I use it quite a lot in smaller homes. I just like how it looks. It looks really realistic. All right. So I put in a chess table, just something nice to really fill that space and make it feel that it's a very, it's not closed off. It's very open. I took the longest time trying to pick a couch for this space. I've gone with this one from high school years because it still pulls in that color theme of like oranges and reds and blues. So we've gone with that today. I've used the Industrial Loft Kit rug, and I've put in the alarms and that painting on the wall there next to the lamp, that does get changed. I think in the end we put something else. I think it's a bookcase from memory. And at this point in the build, I was trying to find quirky things, and I really loved this painting from Dine Out. Again, it had the blues and the oranges and the kind of color scheme we were going for. And I've never really used this painting, but I thought it paired well with the space. I've gone in with that trolley, which came with, I think, high school years. I think it's great. And I do end up putting like a digital sketch pad in that trolley, and it just kind of implies that it's like a utility trolley for an artist, which is quite cool. All right, we're moving into the bedroom. So I love this bedroom because it obviously gets a ton of light being with that large window at the front of the build. And I guess that window being at the front of the build really adds quite a lot of character to the exterior of the build. And I like it. It's one of my favorite windows. It's the one that came with Desert Luxe kit. And in here, it's just bright and colorful. It's just like a rainbow puked or something. So we've gone with that Pride Month bed that we got in the base game update, pastel pop kit, bedside tables. We've gone in with a vanity because I thought, again, this is a creative sim. They might be into like makeup and things like that. I've used a hanging rail as opposed to a dresser. And the plant stand. I always forget about this plant stand, but I think that I should use it way more. So I've added it into this build. Put in a mirror, and I believe we do put in a desk. No, we put in a desk out in the main foyer part. Yeah, that's correct. Love these curtains. These are beautiful. They just, as I said, they're my favorite curtains in the game, and I've been using them a ton. They just fit most spaces quite nicely. Going to put some makeup clutter onto the table, the kind of vanity. And yeah, quite nice. What else can I say about this build? I didn't really know which plants to put on this stand, but I think I did a good job. I did kind of forget that like certain plants have to go onto certain tiers, so that was a bit of a struggle. I've used the Love Struck rug. I said this in last week's build. This rug is so good because the swatches that it have really do match the current swatches that we're getting in all new assets. Like that pink fits perfectly for that bed, and you just don't see that in some of the older assets. Very simple bathroom. Nothing to rave home about. I do like the for rent tiling. I think it pairs nicely. It kind of pulls from the color scheme of the rest of the house, whilst the pink tile pulls a little bit from that bedroom. And then we are moving to this kind of landing space, which is where I have put a desk and also all of the pottery stuff. And then that leads to the little balcony space where I have just some seating. I really like this space. It's kind of like, it's just like a workspace, but it's also doubles as kind of looks like an office as well, because you've got the study nook in the corner. And yeah. All right, we are jumping to the outside to do the exterior. So we are using debug for all of the landscaping. I really like the base game debug menu. So when I am building in a base game world, I tend to use the debug menu. It just makes it easier. We have gone in with some palm trees. There is some like cypress trees in this area, but I've used some palm trees for a bit of difference. These pink flowers, I love these. So these are found quite sporadically through Oasis Springs. So it's nice to kind of bring the flowers that are in the surroundings to the actual property. I then start with the fencing. I thought it was important to map out the back. There isn't much of a backyard in this home. I guess because it's a fairly small lot and the house is quite big. It's 2-story. But I make do. I think we still end up doing like the standard. I think I have a hot tub in this build actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like I put in a hot tub and just some general seating and a barbecue, which I think is fine. Like I think that's all you need. I've put in a paved driveway. I really loved this tile. So this actual flooring tile was base game, and it paired really well with that orange. I guess the whole theme of this build just really like came alive. The inception of it was from that orange swatch, and I just wanted to do something that was quirky and colorful and a little bit different, but also like functional and a good use of the space. And I think it is. I'm really happy with this particular build. You will have to let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. Do you like it? Do you like the color scheme? What are your thoughts? I really like it. All right, as I mentioned, we've got the barbecue, kind of like a sitting area, and we have gone with a hot tub from Perfect Patio. Probably should start to use the base game one, just because that way, when players download it from the gallery, they'll be, they might have that piece of DLC, that content, because it's base game, everyone has it. But yeah, building in base game worlds always reminds me how much fun I have building in these worlds, and that I should do more base game builds. We did do a full month of base game builds back in March, so if you are interested in seeing that, it is on the channel now. You can go back and watch that series. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below, would you like to see more base game worlds? I could easily do another month, and I think that might be really exciting. All right, so we are just adding in the final touches. I used the balustrades, the fencing and the balustrades from Business and Hobbies. I really liked it. It was sleek and modern, and I thought it worked for this space as opposed to having something that's like a bulky fence. I really liked it. So we've just used the Seasons chairs. I don't really use this swatch a lot, but it's bright and it was colourful. And I think that it was contrasting to the orange. The green was contrasting. All right, so we are back into this space and we are just finishing up. I think I'm just adding in the table. I think I put in a mirror, and I think I'm adding just some wall decorations and potentially the rounded trolley that has the pottery marks on them, the clay marks. I really love this piece, and it was just nice to add as a decoration. And yeah. So again, I had this space. I do have that selling table. So technically I could sell something, but it's not necessarily a business. It's just definitely like a home working space. And I used that small one tile glass door that came with Businesses and Hobbies onto the balcony for the main reason that it looks like a window from the exterior. I've always had that issue when I've got a 2-story build and the door actually just looks like a door as opposed to a window. And I just really love this little trick, and I'll be using it a lot more. All right, we are just doing the final touches, adding some dirt under the plants, and we are now live in game. And as you walk in, you have your kitchen and your dining. As I mentioned, I replaced that painting with a bookshelf. I'm just putting in a range hood. I don't know what it is about me and range hoods. I always forget to put them in. So I've done that in this piece. I've used a lot of the kitchen clutter kit. I really like that space. We've got the chess table tucked in there with the living room. Lots of like quirky art, just kind of conveying that this sim is creative. And then you go upstairs onto that landing where you have that workplace, that station, into the very colourful bedroom and a very small bathroom. And that is the build today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this build in terms of like creating it. You'll have to let me know in the comment section down below. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.